I disagree.
I disagree.
You don't have the right to my opinion.
I'm just trying to save the world, man.
I don't know, maybe.
It's legit.
Can I finish?
Can't fit. Hold on. Fine.
And now, disagree to disagree.
Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of Disagree to Disagree. I am Brett. This is my cohort, Jason.
What's up, buddy?
How you doing, pal? Good to see you.
I'm doing pretty good.
Excellent.
Sun is shining. Earth's turning.
Well, thank God for that.
So far today,
Exactly.
you're looking well. Straight from the old hunting cabin.
Yep, straight from the woods. Little bit of getting back to Mother Nature. A little nature bathing, Jason.
Yeah, no, I'm jealous. Instead, I've got to do the social media shout-outs.
Let's give a shout out to the socials.
Yeah, let's, please. We do want to let everybody know that we are thrilled to be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. So subscribe, rate, share. We just really appreciate everybody who is listening so far. And we can't tell you how much that means to us to hear you talk about the conversations we're having and help to foster future conversations.
We appreciate you guys.
Yeah. And I would be remiss if I did not also say that you can get us on social media at the D2D podcast. That's D numerical 2D podcast.
Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yeah.
Lovely. How about introduce our two sponsors for the week, Jason?
Do we have new sponsors this week?
We do have new sponsors.
I'm excited about every week's sponsors, but especially this week.
One of our sponsors this week is Blaze Orange. In case you couldn't tell the human wasn't a deer, they make a great highlighter. And also brought to you by Ice Scrapers. Ice Scrapers use 2 more months out of the year than bicycles in Wisconsin. Great sponsors, Jason.
Ice Scrapers, get a garage.
We'll have to tell the advertising crew to use that.
Brought to you by Ice Scrapers, who remind you to get a garage.
That's awesome, dude.
All right, so we're amused. America's been a little bit slower this week.
A little bit. It does feel like the news cycle kind of slowed down. What's one of the things that's happened this week that you wanted to start talking about?
Well, we got to talk about the dueling town halls. We were supposed to have a town hall debate, and then the Election Commission wanted to take it virtual because of Trump's COVID diagnosis. Trump said no. Biden said, okay, well then in lieu of that, I'm going to schedule a town hall. And then Trump realized he needed an audience as well, so he at the last minute scheduled his own town hall in a very Trumpian way, making it go head-to-head with Biden.
Of course you would think that.
So we can channel surf between them and enjoy, you know? It's kind of like being your own moderator, which was nice.
I'm really glad that they at least did something. I think it was important for both campaigns to kind of keep the word out there, but I'm not going to lie. I was really disappointed in that we weren't going to have the originally scheduled program as it was supposed to be. I think it would have been a little bit more electric coming out of that first presidential debate. Is Trump going to do what he did? Is he going to do it to a voter asking him a question? But at least they both got to say something, and I think that was good. It was appropriate.
Yeah, it seemed like Trump spent a lot more time talking with the moderator and less time talking with the people, and it seemed like Biden did a lot more like actual Q&A.
What were the ratings numbers between the two debates?
Oh, you know what they are. You just told them to me. Quit giving me these softball AM setups.
So 14.1 for Joe Biden.
To 13.5 for Donald Trump.
Yes.
And that surprises me.
I would agree.
Because, I mean, Trump, love him or hate him, he's a dumpster fire that you just can't look away from.
He's entertaining, Jason.
He's something you can't look away from.
Hey, that's all right. At least you're looking.
Yeah, I guess that would be his argument.
I think that's a good argument overall.
I think it's
being paid attention to as a politician. I mean, isn't that what ultimately all politicians want?
I think it's
listen to me.
I think it's a pretty sad metric.
Still a metric.
Yeah, and it seems to be the only one that matters to him. So it's got to be a little.
The media comes right into that.
Thorn in his pride to realize that he lost to Sleepy Joe in the ratings.
But again, it's just 2 separate town halls. I'm not going to really worry about those numbers at all. But I won't lie, I am surprised.
What was your takeaway from it?
Nothing. I'm going to be bluntly honest, nothing. And on top of the fact that I decided to take a little respite into the woods, helped with that as well.
Is that like a respite and a dispute all at once?
Okay, yeah, yes, I think it probably is, Jason.
I'm taking a respute.
I went to my retreat, but no, it was good for me. I didn't really watch it at all. I did see articles, and it was kind of the reverse of what the vice presidential debates was. I figured, well, it's my turn to take the week off as far as watching these two.
Touche.
But basically, my takeaway from it is there's some messaging that got out, but really the only thing that stood out in most of the articles that kept popping up was the ratings. And it was kind of made a big thing out of that. So again, it's another one of these things, because they weren't together, the needle isn't going to move for voters. And so I think with this last debate coming up, it's supposed to be as scheduled. They're supposed to be in the same room. So with that going in, I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, I'm excited for the third debate as well. And I agree that nothing moves the needle, but I do think that Trump just continues to shoot himself in the foot at every opportunity. Like he's not closing well at all, I don't think. I feel like he's his own worst enemy in so many ways. And the rating, sure, that's a takeaway, but I think one of the bigger news item takeaways was him basically admitting to being $420 million in debt.
Talking about his personal finances now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. And that's bothersome for a lot of people. And the fact that he's a finance guy who says he's under-levered. Everybody knows it's leveraged.
God, you guys really
He
like to
says
nitpick
under-levered.
him for
It's
every
not
single thing.
like he said
Have
it.
you guys turned over
Hey,
all the
hey.
stones yet? Have you guys turned over all the stones yet? Have you?
Please let me talk.
I'm just saying.
I'm saying this is a guy who's a financial genius, and he said, like he was explaining it to a child, that he's under-levered. Do you know what that means, under-levered? Didn't say it once. He missaid it several times as if he was explaining what he meant. Just imagine if Joe Biden had done that. You would say his brain didn't work anymore.
I thought we were done with the whataboutisms, Jason. I always get in trouble with you for the whataboutisms. What if Biden did this and you're doing it now too? I think this just goes into that there is no stone that is not willing to be turned over, and he can do nothing right. And that's just basically what has happened for the last 3 some years now. And we're going to go into the last little final lap, and you're going to get the punches in where you guys can. And that's fine. Go ahead. That's fine. But I just, at this point, how many entrepreneurs, how many venture capitalists, how many people who have been successful in business that can be considered an industrial or financial mogul have gone through those moments and bankruptcies and under leveraging and all the terminology that you want to use that's considered a negative aspect of business. But at the same time, he is looked at as a success story, and for good reason. He also has been a successful businessman. But
he
yes,
has run every business he's ever
Not
owned into the
every
ground.
business. That's
This man
not true.
bankrupted 4 casinos. Casinos.
it's not all of his casinos, just 4.
Oh my God. Bankrupting 1 casino proves that you're a terrible businessman.
Do you know how many casinos are getting taken down in Vegas almost every single day? I mean, the turnover with casinos is so common in the
Don't
industry,
even
Jason.
pretend. Don't even
it's
pretend.
so common in the industry. Let's just
No.
be honest here. They truly are. So, whatever.
He's a con-
okay, so
he was a con man who got a high-rated-
Trump's $400
Hey.
million in debt.
Jesus, my God. You're really talking over me a lot today.
Yeah, it's just because it's so silly.
Well, I think my point should get to be made, and then you can say that my point is silly on the other end of my point. But we're doing a lot
Go
of
ahead.
talking over
Okay.
each other.
Okay. I'll go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm done now.
Oh. If you weren't my buddy, eh? That was good, dude.
Sorry.
Got me that time.
Are we done? Are we done with the dueling town halls?
Please, for the love of
Okay.
everything, can we be done with that?
I thought, like after last week's gun thing, we were like, well, this will be a little less contentious this
Nope. I think the feeling that I have with that topic showed because of the main topic that we're going to be talking about later in the show. I think that's just kind of part of that for me, and we'll talk more about that later.
Yeah, it's our main topic tonight is we're over it, but as you can see,
Yeah.
maybe we're not. I don't know. We will see. I guess moving on to the other thing we wanted to discuss before we got to our main topic tonight was the stimulus or lack thereof, and kind of the Supreme Court and how that's taking precedent over maybe getting some of this legislation passed to help people that are really hurting right now. and I'm sorry, I'm framing this in a way that you're going to think vilifies you, and I'm calling a pox on all their houses. First of all, there's no reason that they can't wait till the lame duck to get their Supreme Court justice in there. They've got the votes and they've got the time. The urgent need right now is people's safety nets are running out, and a stimulus bill is desperately needed. America is on the brink of stalling out, and these politicians are not addressing it. And every day I hear it's a new reason. Every day I hear it's, well, Trump wanted this, but the Republicans wouldn't go for it. But then Pelosi said no. And it's just like, get it done. People are hurting.
I saw some stats back in, according to some data that came from the Census Bureau. In basically July and June of this summer, evictions for people who are renting apartments are up about 34% in Wisconsin. And then Wisconsin in and of itself, as of 2019, saw a jump of 20% of Wisconsin farms filing for bankruptcy. Now, in our two separate towns that we live in, we know of businesses that are getting shut down all the time.
Yeah, every day on the morning news, the local news, it's like another bar or a restaurant or theater or some little mom and pop place closed forever because of COVID. And there's got to be a way for that not to be such a bloodbath for people. I read this morning, I've even got my quote. Hold on. By the Mortgage Bankers Association, 6 million people missed their rent or their mortgage in the month of September.
Mm-hmm.
That number's only going to grow because people, that were unemployed, long-term unemployed, all of these service sector people, these arts and entertainment people, these people that just aren't going to be able to go back and work in the foreseeable, probably next 4 to 6 months at least, they are running out of the benefits. And there is just going to be all kinds of hurt. Small businesses are hurting. Local municipalities are hurting. People are having trouble paying rent. People are having food insecurities. And I just am so angry with Congress and the president right now for not realizing how much pain the average American is in.
This is something we can totally agree on because it just baffles me at this point why they're not doing anything. It's just complete politics on both friggin' sides. And once again, that's what I've always said. They're both at guilt. The negotiations itself collapsed back in the summer when the Republicans wanted to put up a proposal for $500 billion. Democrats didn't go for that. Now this time around, they propose another one, and Democrats didn't go for that. Democrats make a proposal again, and then Republicans reject that. And you're looking at this, and they're like, it's like a game of hot potato.
No,
they're just jumping back and forth to each other. And then Trump signs 4 executive orders since the negotiations have completely collapsed, and neither one of them are doing anything. And I don't understand why. I mean, the only question that comes in, is it something politically that they're worried about that could influence voters either way? But that just seems so petty. I'm baffled. I don't understand why they just won't do anything.
Mitch McConnell won't bring it. And, sorry to correct you again, but the Democrats, round 3 of stimulus, they offered a very large, I think, $3.5 trillion bill in July. The Republicans came back with something less than $1 billion, and they just kind of stalled out there. And the urgency got kind of there was building urgency for it again, and then Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, and it just became a back burner issue, especially for Senate Republicans who aren't going to go for a larger bill anyway. And then Trump comes out and vacillates in the course of 24 hours after getting out of the hospital, saying all negotiations are off, and then he wants something that's larger than what the Republicans are offering. And so I think everybody's at fault. And I don't understand why Trump doesn't want this, why Trump doesn't understand how much of a win this would be for him to give people money on the eve of an election, people that are hurting.
So it's a Democrat-controlled House, Republican-controlled Senate.
And Mitch McConnell is ultimately the guy who's not going to let this pass.
And Pelosi has done the same thing as well. So again, this comes back to both sides, again, are doing this, and they just won't get it done. And it always comes back to these excuses of political reasoning. And I just don't get that.
It
was a $500 billion that they proposed in the summer. Democrats didn't like it because they felt it was a little bit more of too much of a piecemeal type legislation.
Well, it's not enough, Brett. It's not enough. It needs to be 1.5 trillion plus in order to address all of the faltering things going on in our economy.
A lot of the lifelines that prop this stuff up are starting to be phased out in the next week or two. And most of the ones that happened from the early big push have already been pretty much phased out. So the Senate is supposed to vote on this, I think, around October 19th. And so they're going to be voting on this. But will it get through? Will it pass? Will anything happen? I don't know.
They're going to vote on a dead on arrival thing just so they look politically, so they have cover. But, it's the same old machinations. And I mean, Pelosi's saying that Tuesday is the deadline for the congressional Democrats and the White House to make a deal. And it's just, everybody's trying to cover their ass and it's not going to get done. I mean, it's all political posturing and it's probably going to be that way until after the election. And I want to just shake all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just portions of this economy that have stalled out and aren't coming back until it's somewhat normal. And we all know now that that's not going to be until probably March or April at best.
Yeah. Something needs to happen and they need to get to work.
Let's talk about something
a little bit lighter, Jason.
A little bit funnier, yeah.
So there's been a person that's been seen around LAX, Los Angeles, California airport, flying around in a jetpack on and off the last 6-9 weeks.
And wasn't this guy there like prior to this?
Oh, do we know it's a guy? Let's not misgender here,
I'm
Jason.
so sorry. Whoever they are, I feel like I've heard about them before. And my only question is, that's awesome that you have a jetpack. Why are you doing it in LAX airspace?
There seems to be other and better places to do that at, especially at 6,000 feet in the air.
I mean, I just think I would get really sweet views of the Grand Canyon or that kind of thing. But if you want to be bug on the windshield of a 747, be my guest.
Dodging airplanes in and out. I've always wanted a jetpack, Jason. I won't lie.
Everybody wants a jetpack, Brad.
Mm-hmm.
So the sightings of this jetpack person, are they, nobody has a picture of it? Is it just like, saw him out the window of the plane?
It's the pilots reporting back that they're seeing this object in the air and it looks like a person flying around in a jetpack. It's been confirmed by 2 different pilots over the last number of weeks now.
I guess we need cameras on front of planes now.
We need cameras on the front of planes.
Yep.
Yes.
Cameras everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That is really
Big
the solution.
Make this really 1984. Let's just go whole hog now, Jason. We got to end 2020 as just whole hog 1984.
But don't you feel like people are inviting Big Brother into the house? I think that's the most insidious thing, is these devices that listen to us and create algorithms on how they respond to us based on what they hear from us. I mean, we really are, in the name of convenience, kind of allowing Big Brother right into our homes.
Giving a few things away because we're probably getting a little lazy.
Super duper lazy.
And I think people are...
These kids today.
It's just kind of goes in line with how people are just sick of it. And I think people are sick of doing things that they consider small and mindless. So why not automate them?
I guess. Yeah. I mean, man, the day the electricity turns off is going to be a real tough day for most people.
Everybody will go outside for the first time in how long? I pay attention to these news stories like the jetpack person because I kind of need a little bit of a walk away slowly from the news with my hands in the air like, okay, I've got enough. I just need to take a break now. I'm going to go and check out jetpack person. I'll be back with you guys with the election and the politics in a few.
No, I get it. We are fatigued, man. We are all just over it in so many ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's amazing to me how many people I've talked to that totally feel the same way.
Yeah. 2020 has been a year of things that are just overwhelming and unrelenting. I mean, we're dealing with this election. We're dealing with the pandemic. We're dealing with the economic slowdown and all of these people and losing jobs and work. We're dealing with racial tension and civil unrest. We're dealing with wildfires and hurricanes. And it's enough to just kind of shut you down a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, like you were just saying, it's enough to make you want to just go find the stories about the jetpack person.
Everyone's just exhausted. They're really worn out. And as you were listing all those things that have been happening in 2020, it's like one more rock in your backpack, another rock in your backpack. Keep going uphill. Here's another rock in your backpack. And you keep doing this climb that there's so much weight. Now you're just clawing to just keep moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like at this rate, the December surprise is going to be Santa fucks the elves.
Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, no, no, no. But it's just like, can it be over soon enough for anybody, really?
I don't think it is, but
We're all done. We're just done. I'm done. Are you done?
I am. This past week, it was sort of what I said about the other week with the VP debate. You know, you kind of checked out from that, and I just sort of checked out this week a little bit, and I think that's kind of a healthy thing.
That's
to
what going.
have.
Yeah, that's what going to the cabin is for.
Exactly. It's just to catch a breath, because this stuff can really start to mess with your mind on a day-to-day basis of constantly having to be pummeled and taking on this barrage of one more thing, one more news story. Trump this, Trump did this. Well, Biden did this too. Trump, COVID. And there's always this constant interruption of what we're trying to have as just our normal lives. I'm really looking forward for the election to happen, and then we can all just kind of take a big, deep breath and be like, okay, 79 days to transfer, inauguration, or Trump gets back into the presidency, and we can just move forward. But right now, I don't think we're going to get that. And I just hope that people take a moment, take a breath, and try to find other things to talk about. But I just feel really burnt out.
If you think the transition period, especially should Trump lose, if you think that's going to get any less chaotic or fevered,
No.
I just feel like, yeah, in one sense, when the election happens, that will be a huge relief. But, oh, man, you know, it's not going to be a cure-all. It's not going to heal the country. It's not going to cure the virus or get a vaccine here any sooner or get people back to work any sooner. It's just, it feels like an existential year where everything is just kind of giving everybody this low-level anxiety. I don't know the stats, but suicide rates have to be going up. Rates of drug dependence have to be going up. I mean, people are lonely and scared and bitter. And yeah, I mean, a lack of conversation because they're in their own bubbles, but a lack of conversation because they're in their own houses too.
I totally agree that the transition process is not going to go smoothly. It's just my hope. I just kind of hope that once the election happens, we have a result. We can hopefully get back into some sort of sense of normalcy. But you're right, that it'll be very tumultuous.
I think normalcy is coming at the earliest, like March. I mean, I just really feel like.
But like you said, it's not going to cure the virus. That's still going to be around, and that's just. I think this is a lot of the feeling and the anxiety and the fatigue from media coverage and politics and the election in general is kind of a result, as you said, from people kind of being in their own bubbles and not being able to have conversations with people. And that's something that I really miss, that I'm finding more and more, is just being able to talk about things that have nothing to do with it. You know, call you up and be like, Jason, what did you do this past weekend?
We can't have those conversations anymore, Brett. Now we have a podcast.
Exactly. No more normal conversations.
No, but there are no more. I mean, normal life is suspended by and large. So what do you talk about? Thank God sports is back on to some degree. But I just feel like there's this overwhelming ennui. I think that America has become very French in its sensibility of just detachment.
Do you think the media and how they cover these things influences people and how they're feeling right now in fatigue?
Oh, I think for sure. I think the unrelenting access to nonstop media is the problem. Everybody's got to check their phones every 5 minutes. And we've become so used to Trump doing something so often that if he doesn't, it's almost like, why isn't the baby making noise? And so we've just gotten ourselves in this, I know you haven't watched it yet, but I would love to have a conversation about The Social Dilemma. because I think that is a lot of that social media environment that's really come about in the last decade or so has had a huge impact on the political environment and the political discourse. I don't think the current occupant is helping. I don't think, honestly, Nancy Pelosi or Mitch McConnell are helping. I'm over Mitch McConnell. I'm over his brand of heartless power politics. I am so ready for him to be in the minority. I am so ready for the Republicans to be in the wilderness for a little while, because they have ruled in a way that power should not be theirs for a while. I'm so angry with them. I'm so over it. And that would be my hope more than anything for this election, is if we can turn the corner on Republican control of the Senate, then maybe at least my mood starts to brighten about the future.
I don't think that any of that's going to really change it, in my opinion. I mean, I'm over the Democrats being what they are and constantly trying to blame the Republicans for everything that's going on and everything that's wrong. And yes, they are the ones that are in control of certain majority aspects of how our government is providing legislation, and
the party in power governs. The party out of power bitches about the party in power.
I kind of feel like a lot of this stuff is exasperated because it's an election year. If I go back in my memory and I just think about, well, what did it feel like during this election? What did it feel like during that election? And I think that there were certain aspects and points that when it gets towards the end of these cycles, you really are burnt out. But there's so much more now that we didn't have in those prior elections. As you said, social media being such an influence, COVID and the ramifications of the decisions that we make in terms of lockdowns and limiting our interactions with people when we're out in public. And all these things just kind of keep compounding on each other. And normal life is suspended right now. And I get to have this weird feeling in the back of my mind that normalcy as we've known it up to this point is not going to be coming back anytime soon at all. And I don't know if it's just because I'm giving in to this sort of paranoia of we're never going to recover from how COVID influences our interactions. We're never going to recover from how Trump has caused what now has to be solved now. And I'm just really over of how anybody that doesn't think like a Democrat and anybody that doesn't think like a liberal is just vilified, and they're just uncaring people, and they're just bad influence on our American society. And it's something that just keeps wearing on me, and it just keeps getting hammered and hammered and hammered in the media. Every time I turn something on, everyone who voted for Trump or is a conservative or anything right of center is somehow at fault for how people are feeling right now. And I just keep going, well, but the media that you're paying attention to, in order to keep ratings up, they sort of have to keep a certain anxiety level up in their audience to keep them coming back for more. It feels a little bit like a crack dealer, give you a little taste, and then you're going to keep coming back. And I just want to break the habit. I just want to be able to take a breath and not pay attention to all this stuff. And it's really hard not to, because I'm trying to think, and correct me, I don't know, maybe if you know this, if it was Jefferson or Franklin or one of our founding fathers, in order to have a well-run constitutional republic, we have to have an educated citizenry. And everyone has in their mind right now, they have to pay attention to what's going on to the 24-hour news cycle in order to keep educated and keep up with what is happening. And that creates its own form of anxiety in and of itself.
Well, I think you kind of talked about two separate things there. I think pot calling the kettle black, your guy tweets 19 times a day, vicious attacks at the left. So, that has got to come down, simmer down on both sides. One thing I don't think that we should allow our apathy to get the better of us on is the coronavirus, because that is the one thing that, I see people at the grocery store now with their mask down or not even coming in with a mask. And that is the one thing that if we don't all step up and pitch in, it's not going away. And in Wisconsin, in particular, in the county where I live, it's one of the fastest growing COVID hotspots. So it can be difficult, these things, and it can breed apathy and fatigue and wanting to disengage. And I want to be done with the election. I want to be done with so many of these things, but COVID's not done with us. So it's one of those things where we just got to keep calm and carry on.
Have you started to feel a little bit of this election and media fatigue? Is this something that you're feeling?
Aren't
On
you?
a date- on a-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I totally am. I'm trying to figure out ways to sort of break the cycle. I've been paying attention to this stuff way before you and I started doing this podcast. And now I'm like looking for ways to almost distract myself. And on your daily basis that you turn on is something news or political, or do you find little things that you do throughout the day to not have yourself feel like you're forced to pay attention?
Well, I watch a little morning news before work in the morning with my coffee and, check things on the phone and the internet throughout the day. I don't think I'm overly, I don't have like MSNBC or CNN or any 24-hour media. I cut the cable on cable and the cord on cable, whatever the saying is.
You cut it.
I don't have it. So, I maybe don't bathe in it as much as some people do, but I just think it's an excessive amount no matter what it is. And right now, living in Wisconsin, no matter what you're watching, if you pick a puppy video on YouTube, if you pick a music video on YouTube, it's going to be a political ad that you
Yep.
see at the top of it. And oh my God, like just that more than anything is I think what people get done with in an election cycle.
So it's more of the advertisement kind of always in your face about the political cycle rather than the media talking about it all the time.
Well, it's part and parcel. It's just everything all the time, unrelenting, just like every morning, how many died from COVID? What's burning now, or who's marching, or who's looting, or it's just this cacophony of bad news. And I think we're all just collectively over 2020. I think that we both have a short list of things that we could now kind of do a speed round of things that maybe we're personally over.
Sick of it.
Sick of it, over it. I would like to say that I never even got into it, but I'm over TikTok,
What's TikTok?
right? You can ask Vine.
Hello, this is Vine. May I speak with TikTok, please?
I don't know. We were told that maybe we should, get on TikTok to get ourselves out there. And Brett, I can't do it. I can't.
No, and I'm one of the things I'm just totally over with is just constantly getting condescended to and scolded and lectured from all my liberal friends just because I happen to voted for somebody different from them. And I'm just so irritated. And I just want it to end so I can have a normal relationship with the people that I care about.
I know you're so butthurt this episode. You were,
If you couldn't tell from the top of the episode that I'm just almost at my limit,
Brett cannot
go
take,
back and listen to it because I interrupt Jason.
Brett cannot take defending Trump anymore. He's over it. No, I get it. You know what I'm over is the Minnesota Vikings 2020 season. I'm done. I'm done with it. I don't even want to say they should all get COVID.
That's something that I'm
Not the bad COVID, just like the kind the president got, and then they should cancel the rest of the season, save a little face.
That's funny because I'm totally over not being able to talk about football and how good my Packers are doing right now, Jason, compared to your Vikings.
Yeah, they are. They're doing really good this year.
Well, those Vikings aren't really.
I'm done. I'm done with them. Brett.
You're over
You're
it.
not going to get any more out of it than that. What else are you over?
I'm over the media saying Trump is the center of all the woes of the entire universe. I can't wait for somebody else for them to blame or not blame.
Thanks, Obama. I mean, the current occupant always gets blamed by everybody. That's the job.
But this just feels so different, and I just can't wait to turn on the news and have somebody else kind of have their feet put to the fire and their personality and everything that they do scrutinized.
I can't wait to turn on the news and not have to pay attention to politics for like a whole week.
Oh, I would like to have a whole month.
Yeah. No, I just want, what I would wish is that, it's just the constant, Trump is always in your face. And that's the thing that fatigues me about him is just like he's unrelenting in his need to be the center of attention.
Can we write a strongly worded letter to all the news media on our behalf, pleading with them to give us a vacation from the news cycle as it's been for the last 3 years?
Yeah, I just want to watch that Jane Pauley Sunday morning show.
Oh, wow. Jane Pauley. Wow, you
With
pulled that out.
with the trumpet and what is that called? Sunday morning? This I don't know. It's like an hour-long thing Sunday morning, from like 7 to 8 a.m.
It used
Central.
to be on before my morning cartoons as a kid.
Oh, it's great. It's great. They do like more of the long form journalism where they'll do like a 7-8 minute story and then they'll do a longer interview, and they always close with like a nature piece, and it's just like this 30 seconds to a minute of calm and maybe some birds or some water, and that's what I want. I honestly watched an hour's worth of this thing on YouTube called Mobile Bird Feeder, and it was this sled, like this old-timey sled, wood sled with like nice metal skis.
Okay.
And it was taken out into the forest and just placed there with a couple different cameras on it. And critters, birds, all kinds of things would come and feast at the smorgasbord of different things that were on there, like seeds and nuts and fruit. And Stella and I, my dog, we literally watched an hour of that.
So everyone take a note.
Because that was like being in nature. That was like, we couldn't go camping. So we did that. And that's where I'm at. That's what 2020 has done to me. I'm watching Mobile Bird Feeder with my dog.
Wow. I just went outside, Jason. Like, I just went outside. That's what I did. And I think that's something that a lot of people miss, is not being able to go outside and go in nature and just get away from it all and get a deep breath. And
That's what's really going to be tough going into the winter, is that people did have that ability this summer to get out and be outside. And now that it's getting colder again and everybody's going to have to be inside, we're just going to feel those restrictions more and more. And it's just, we're going to be done with it more and more. And I'll say it again, we can't. And I guess I'll leave it at that. I do want to say one other thing that I'm over. Okay, if we can get back to that, because I'm not done.
you got a long list.
Yeah. Karens, stop.
Oh, yes.
Just stop. You're done. We don't need to hear anymore.
Well said, sir. I support that. Can we start a Stop the Karen campaign?
I'm done with Karens. What else am I done with? Maybe this episode.
This is very emblematic of how we're feeling right now.
We're punchy.
Doing this episode.
We're punchy today.
Yeah, we really are. And I gotta say, and I can't say it enough,
America feels this way.
I really enjoy talking with you about these conversations, but I want to be able to talk about something else. And I don't think that we're ever going to get really a break from it.
It'll come, buddy.
I hope it does.
It'll come. It'll come. It's magically going away. We've rounded the corner.
We're in the last leg of this race.
The last leg of it. Next week, I hear we're getting vaccines. So.
Already, huh?
Yep, that's what I hear.
The drone's going to fly around and
we're
drop
all going
them
to
off
get.
to all
Yep,
of us?
they've got individual drones for everybody.
Oh, wow.
The president hooked it all up. He made GM make them.
When they're going to fly in the air, are they going to play Flight of the Valkyries as they're going along in the neighborhoods dropping this off?
Well, if they don't, that's just theatrical
Another
malfeasance.
strongly worded letter we need to send out.
See, you just stepped on my funny thing again. You can't let me say my joke. You got to talk right over me. Oh my God, buddy.
I'm so sorry, pal.
And me, I just sit and let you talk and talk and talk.
Oh, you get your fair share of talking.
I do. And I love you. And
I love you too, bro.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
We need
that
a
I'm-
little love right now.
Yeah. I just am. I'm a little bit punchy, and I do think that it's this end of October fatigue.
What would you recommend people do to get over the fatigue we're feeling from all this election coverage and politics and COVID and media?
I would say try and work it out in a podcast with a friend, so you don't take it to bed at night.
I was just going to tell people to chop wood.
Chopping wood is also great therapy. Oh my goodness! If you haven't, chop some wood.
That's our tip of the show right there.
Yep. Do you got anything else that you're over, or do you have any parting message on today's topic?
Everyone take a deep breath. We're in the last leg here. Everything, I think, in the end is going to be fine. We're Americans. We're tough. We've been through a lot as a society, and we're going to come out better on the other end. I have faith in everybody that we will. What I'm hoping for is we're going to learn some lessons, and we're going to come together, and we're going to be better off having gone through this. It's sort of like working out. You got to break the muscle down in order to build it up so it's stronger.
I wish that I shared that optimism. I don't know. We'll see. I hope for that. America is, It's like
Been through a lot.
It's America feels like a bizarro version of itself right now. It feels like the version of itself that has a goatee. I just
Oh, wow.
I think more than anything, I'm ready for bizarro America to be done.
That's a very good assessment. You said that much shorter and succinct than I ever did. I could have just said bizarro world and we would have gotten it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I got nothing else to say. Do you have anything else to say?
Goodbye, Jason.
Well, yeah. That would be the last thing we could say.
Just take a deep breath. We're going to get through this. We'll be fine.
We're done now, right?
God, I hope so. Goodbye, Jason.
Goodbye, Brett.